This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI-assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Welcome to what is going to be a fantastic night's racing at one of England's most well-known and well-loved tracks. I refer to none other than Donington Park. We have got an amazing array of GT3 cars that are going to be pounding the tarmac in one of Cheshire's finest. My name is Chris Buxton. I'll be your commentator throughout this evening's race. And what a race we have got. 90 minutes of pure action from our GT3 pros here at World Pro Racing. Before we head trackside to have a look at how the qualifying is going, we must make a particular mention to the commercial partners. Without them, this simply could not exist. AMD, HyperX, GT Omega, Thrustmaster, Melita and Gaming Malta, thank you to you all for your participation. And also to the broadcast partners, particular special mention to Esports TV, Motorsports TV and TVM Sports. Again, providing an incredible broadcast for us. And thank you to our behind-the-scenes crews that very literally make everything happen. And to our participating drivers. At last count, there were 29, and I have no doubt we have got some amazing talent among the field. Right, we'll head trackside as soon as we can to have a look at how our drivers are getting on. And that is a lovely aerial shot of Donington just heading onto the back straight there. And that is from one of the trickiest corners in the circuit, in the bottom left-hand corner of that particular shot. That was Coppice. As we now look at Alex Johnston, one of the favourites for this particular race. He was looking pretty hot in the preceding free practice session. As he's gone with the Porsche. Quite a nice array of marks we've got. We're not looking at a one-make series. So that is good to see. Now we're using the full GP layout for this evening's race. As mentioned, they've got 15 minutes of qualifying ahead of them before we head to the 90-minute showdown. So we're on. We were on with Alex Johnson there in the GP loop, and we now look at Marcus Littlewood for the Omega Racing team in the number 12 Porsche. Oh, it's got the. You saw the Porsche get very unhappy there, down at the old hairpin. Now that is quite an awkward braking zone. It's a very, very challenging braking zone. You're downhill. It's quite bumpy. This camera doesn't really give credence to how tricky that corner is. It's where we'll see probably the most amount of incidents go on. As we now head on to the top part of the circuit, through Coppice and onto Starkey Straight, heading down towards the Fogarty S's. Now, it's more common to use the national layout, which turns right at this chicane here. It's not how you take the Fogarty S's, but it's a quicker way to start the next lap, I suppose. As we head down to the hairpin, Melbourne Hairpins is called. Wow, you can see from the map just how busy it is just at this point. Donington is not a particularly long lap as far as GT3 racing is concerned, so the track will generally feel very, very busy. So that's going to make for quite a lot of action for the race, and of course for qualifying. On board now with Marcus Littlewood. Let's have a driver's eye view in of how this track feels. So you go over the pit lane exit there, as long as it's of course safe to do so. Already wrestling with the steering to get that portion to behave itself, kicks over a bit of dust on the exit of Redgate. Now down through Hollywood and into the Craner curves. You see where the bumps and the undulation changes really unsettle the cars. Catch as much of that apex as you dare, or run a little bit wide. It's so easy to do down there with the old hairpin. Starkey's Bridge, now Schwanz curve and into McLean's. He is catching someone. Here's one of the Lamborghinis is catching up to him. Marcus. Oh, again, a little bit wide on the exit of McLean's. Up and over the blind, for the blind apex of Coppice. And one of the most challenging corners on the track. Now onto Starkey Straight, with the only real place you're going to catch a break as the Lamborghini and the Audi, as we saw on the left-hand side, brakes to get out of the way. Into the Fogarty S's. That's how you do it. Very nicely done. And then heading down towards Melbourne Hairpin. Again, some of these apexes are totally blind. Slowest part of the circuit now, down to first gear. Control the wheel spin on the exit. And head up to Goddard's, which is the final turn. There's 180-degree left-hand turn. Porsche head shouldn't provide too much of a problem, although that's a very, very deep. into the final turn for Marcus. He's only 700 of a second near enough behind Johnston. Heading into that lap, remains in that position on that time lap. But that is driver's eye view of this incredible track. Such a huge amount of elevation change from here, pretty much the highest point of the circuit as we come through through Redgate and Hollywood again, down to the lowest. I mean, there's such a drop. It really is it's one of those drops that leaves your stomach behind. Our top Mercedes at the moment, Harry Spears, the 285 Ford Zilla racer. He's coming into the chicane as well. Now, what we saw from Marcus earlier on, just going over the dust, it's so easy to do. As one of the Audis jumps out of the way of Harry there. Oops, and nearly trips over him, actually, going into the Melbourne hairpin. It's so easy to do. It's really, really easy to misjudge that braking point, because you've been on the gas for, it's not a particularly long straight as far as straights are concerned, but it's long enough. It's the one and only point realistically that you have to just let the brain unravel a little bit as Harry jumps over the line, takes the third spot, just 2 and a bit tenths behind Johnson's already impressive top spot, as we now jump to Nat Thomas, our third place Porsche, 5th overall. Again, that's not the ideal way of taking that chicane. It bumps the car around and probably invalidates the lap. Pushing on nonetheless. A little bit of time to find, but nothing too bad. I mean, in fairness, 4-second spread in these GT cars is not too bad. And that separates first to 23rd, with Ballesteros at the bottom of the tower there, you can see on the left-hand side. Now, you saw now they took a much, much tighter line through that final Goddard's turn than we saw from Harry earlier. That's the more ideal one. Now did get a time on the board there. He shaved a couple of tenths off, but remains in 5th position. Here is Samir Foch in the Ferrari. I think it's Sol Ferrari, certainly we can see. It's nice to see the Italian mark, this Italian mark represented. There are, of course, plenty of Lamborghinis out there. But only the one Ferrari, or at least only the one Ferrari on the tower. As we see him. Now, again, that Ferrari doesn't quite settle, actually. He's chasing one of the Lamborghinis. There's quite a few cars in this particular shot here, and this is what we're going to see a lot of. You won't see, unlike longer tracks like Spa or Le Mans or anything like that, where the field spreads out and they don't seem to have anybody around them. This kind of really kind of close quarters racing it's very, very typical of Donington Park. So it's really going to test how well the drivers can manage being in the traffic for most of their race. There'll be times where some drivers will have what seems like the entire track to themselves. But by and large, they will have that kind of really close, I'd say claustrophobic feel. Not everybody gets on with that really kind of very close. Oops, no, the Lambo let go. There's Ryan Renoir. Yeah, that's not a surprise. You put the power down that tiny bit too early, coming over that crest from Coppice, and the tail does not like it, will not grip, and round you go. Luke Whitehead has jumped up into 3rd position in the Mercedes. 2 tenths off the top spot on the moment. Oh no, that's now the Merc looked like it got a tiny bit unsettled coming through. Excuse me, coming through Starkey's Bridge there. It's 2 turns before McLean's. Now come over the rise, blind apex for Coppice. Looks quite settled now, but it did look a little bit lively. But that's the difference, really. That's the fine margins that we're dealing with. You either take, as a more stable approach, and that was quite a lot of apex there for the number 4 Merc, which isn't going to be quickest, or you just put everything on the line and absolutely go for it. And let's face it, these drivers are going to be pushing to the limit and finding that extra tenth wherever they can. And of course, it does tend to make the cars very, very lively and often quite difficult to control. And you see there, Luke's gone for a deeper line into Goddard's. More personal preference, so that you do go a little bit deep into it, but it does try and open up the increase your exit speed from that corner to then come over the line. Luke is likely to be starting another time lap here. May not make a huge amount of difference, but it could be the tiny bit of difference you need. Some of these times are very, very close. We now go to Gotham Reddy in the 32 Audi, the lead Audi on the board at the moment. You were talking about close time. Look at the time between him and the 44 Audi of Huckart. There's only not even a tenth between them. That's how the top 24 currently sit. And look at that. No one driver has got more than 2 purple sectors. Sector 1 currently being held by Harry Spears in the Mercedes. And then Littlewood in the Porsche has got the second sector, and Harrison, that's even more amazing. The Merc has sector 1, the Porsche has sector 2, and the McLaren has sector 3. Excellent stuff. So we jump back to Gotham Ready now. It's coming over the line. 3 seconds off the pace at the moment, but still a few more minutes on the board of this session. There is Mike Huckart in the Audi. Wow, you'll notice that livery from some distance. The 44 car from Germany is just winding up then to start his lap. He's got someone ahead of him. Again, he's just distancing himself to try and not trip over the Porsche. So we're right on board with the Audi. Now you'll hear that very distinct scream that the Audis and the Lamborghinis have. There's a subtle sound difference between them, but they very much scream as opposed to the roar that you'll get from certainly the Mercedes and the McLaren in particular. Porsche, of course, has its own, well, they all have their own particular song that they sing. On board with the Audi then, down to third gear for Old Hairpin. Didn't take too much of the apex there. It's more of a steady way of taking the corner. It's certainly safer. It won't send you off into oblivion if you get that one wrong. You will lose a tiny bit of time. You're not too close to the apex there for McLean's. Now up and over the crest for Coppice. Again, it's absolutely blind from the driver's eye perspective. You do have to really just commit to memory when to turn in, which in the heat of battle is very, very easy to get wrong. Into Fogarty S's once again. Now, Mike won't want to lose too much the time on the 315 Porsche. That is Afonseca directly ahead of him because he'll want a bit of the slipstream on the straights. He's close enough to make advantage of that. Quite a few people in the pits then, either not wanting to go out again or just trying to go out at the last possible minute. And Huckart actually gained a bit of time, it looks like, on Afonseca. And there we go. Jumps up a couple of positions, up to 18th now. With a 129.256 being his last time. Back to Harry Spires, our second baseman. Lucas Whitehead has actually taken the top spot. Never mind, that's now in the hands of Harry Spears. Very nicely done. As he completes the lap and then goes off to build a sandcastle in the dust. That's a 126.388 on the board for the Mercedes. Here's Samuel Harrison, our lead McLaren in the 217 car. Very distinctive blue livery on that car. Again, there's another very distinctive roar that the McLaren has spewing forth from the exhaust pipes. I'm going to go quite some way down to McEwing in 14th position to find the next McLaren down the way. But we don't have one particular dominant mark. Of course, we have the 2 Mercs up front, but that's been Porsches for a while in the form of Alex Johnston, who, as mentioned, was pretty quick in the preceding practice session. I think the quickest in the practice, but then it's the McLaren, then another couple of Porsches, then one of the Lambos, and then a Bentley, the Merc, Bentley, and then Ferrari takes up our top 12. All too many times, I'm sure we've all seen the top 5 or 6 positions taken by a single mark. No such luck here. As the McLaren comes through the Fogarty S's, heading down towards Melbourne Hairpin once again. He's trying to pick up some slipstream from that Mercedes ahead of him. Didn't quite see who that was, but again, just as we saw previously, that's about an ideal situation that Samuel wants to find himself in. He ideally want to be a tiny bit closer to the Merc, but he should benefit from that. All the same, less than a minute to go in the session. Does he improve? He did not improve on that occasion. 3/10 behind his previous best on that occasion. It's got them ready again in the Audi. 32 car heading down towards the Old Hairpin, being hounded by Lamborghini. That's the number 7 Lamborghini. That is Volodya. And Gotham is Quite wisely getting out of the way of the Lambo there. His lap may have already been either already compromised or may have just come into the end of his outlap, so he's let the Lamborghini go. Here's Christopher Legreston in the 992 Porsche, currently in 28th position with some time to find. And pressing on through McLean's and up and over the crest for Coppice. A good half the field at least are back in the pits. The checkered flag has fallen. Of course, bright sunshine for this track. Weather is not something he doesn't have to worry about too much. Now, what improvement can Christopher find? The Herberth Motorsport squad into the Melbourne hairpin once again. Quite cautious on the exit, but absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that. A couple more people coming over the line to complete their laps. And over the line. And that was a bit of an improvement.
Green light, go, go, go.
As now the cars leaving the pits once again, as we can see there. Well. So we've had a great view of the drivers in action at this wonderful, wonderful track. And I cannot wait to get down trackside and see how this field is going to pan out. As mentioned, there's about 29 people signed up for this event. We saw, I think, about 27 of them take to the field. Now, at a track like Donington, that is going to make for very condensed racing. There's going to be a lot of traffic for a lot of our drivers for a lot of the time. Yes, it will spread out eventually. Of course, over a 90-minute race, you would expect them to. Also, something else to bear in mind is that our drivers have to make at least one pit stop during the race, and they must change tyres in that period of time. So whether they like it or not, they may feel perfectly comfortable on those tyres. They must ditch them. When they do it, entirely up to them, as long as they have completed one racing lap and have one racing lap at the end to complete. So they can't finish the race in the pit lane is essentially what that means. And the field are slowly leaving the pits, as we can see. Qualifying now officially has begun. Now we have an idea of the pecking order. 15 minutes is all they have, which is not long when there's that many of them out there trying to get their own qualifying laps in. Now, we might see, we've got a pair of Porsches here. There's Alex Johnston, who was very near the top of the field. He was third in the end in the practice session we've just seen. I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some people trying to work together to get that all-important slipstream. Now, the straights aren't all that long, so they've got to be very, very careful how they go about trying to give slipstream to their teammates. On board with Alex. Let's follow him through his lap. Now, you see, he's much smoother than... I was about to say he's much smoother through Redgate, which is turn one, but unfortunately ran that tiny bit too wide and kicked up some dust. Down the hill, through Hollywood, through the Craner curves, into the old hairpin. Oh, no, that's not where you want to find a car. Oh, that was close. That was incredibly close. Amazing confidence from Alex. He kept his foot in it and hoped that the Merc would get out of the way, which it did. Barely. You could... Oh, that's not ideal to slide the car like that. These cars are not really that designed to four-wheel drift like that. Oh, turning left into a right-hander is not the ideal way of handling Coppice, and that lap is done for Alex, unfortunately, as we now switch to Marcus Littlewood, wearing the same colours as Alex was, or Alex is. So yeah, that's how easy it is to get it wrong, especially at Coppice. That's why I say that's the hardest corner in the entire track. Here at Melbourne Hairpin, it's also quite tricky because it's very easy to spin the rear wheels and you'll be in the infield facing the wrong way. But it's a very slow corner, so these drivers will be very experienced in handling all the torque that's under their right foot at low speeds. But Coppice is blind. It is on a crest, and you just have to hit and hope. I mean, all the muscle memory is going to have to come good at that particular point. And that was where we saw someone get it absolutely wrong. We saw Alex get that one totally wrong indeed. Vishal Patel, another one of the Porsches. Porsche is one of the favourite marks, as you can see. I think there's more McLarens out there, mathematically speaking. But generally, there seems to be the Porsches towards the front. But as practice rather proved, they're not necessarily the dominant mark. But now we're going to see who's been sandbagging and who's been really putting everything on the line as early as we can. It's Nat Thomas at the top of the field at the moment. Still enough time to get those all-important laps in. As a Vishal Patel coming down towards Goddard's. You can see he went for the very tight line there because he's probably on a time lap, I would expect. We're seeing times from most drivers coming to the way. There we go. Yeah, slots up into fourth position with the 1:28.1. Expect that time to come crashing down. 26.4 from Lucas Whitehead. That is currently at the top of the tree. That's a very strong time there. Guichard is there in second position, the second Mercedes. There's Nat Thomas, our previous pole sitter, with that 27.6. But I would imagine he is pressing on to try and get that time as low as possible. You're not going to expect people to be jumping back into the pits as we saw in the previous free practice session. Only a tenth of a second, not even that, separates himself and Guichard. Nope, never mind, that was the case. And Alex Johnson right behind him has jumped up into third. Oh, and Harrison in the McLaren is in second position by 18 thousandths of a second. I did say it would be close, and these guys are not proving me wrong. Mike Huckart in the Audi. Lead Audi at the moment on in 12th position. A 28.701 is his previous time. Oh, that's Ryan Renoir, the Belgian, getting held up there by, I think it's Patel, or it was the colours that Patel were wearing a moment ago. I'm not 100% sure that is his car, but that is Renoir trying to get a bit of the slipstream. That's very, very close to that. That isn't Patel, that is the 71. That's again, I apologise if I'm not getting the pronunciation quite right. Yassinis. I'm going to run with that one unless I'm told otherwise. Tom McEwing in the 89 McLaren, currently in 16th position. One of the Porsches directly behind him. Into Goddard's now. You see, he's gone for that wider line to try and maximise his exit speed from Goddard's. It's because the start-finish line is, well, it's not even halfway down the straight. It doesn't really, there's not a lot of difference between the two lines as far as overall pace is concerned. It's more your own personal choice. So we see Luke Whitehead flashing his lights furiously at the McLaren. That was Ballesteros that he was flashing his lights at. Left it a little bit late to be getting out of the way of the pole sitter, but he jumped out of the way nonetheless. I suspect Luke probably did lose a bit of time there because he was very close to that McLaren before he jumped out of the way. As he has another one who does jump out of his way a tad late because he's now compromised his own line. That's the 15 car. And even still, that's a new pole time from Luke Whitehead, 1:26.286. Despite the fact he's fending off people getting out of the line, we now jump to Harry Spies, who was right up towards the top end of the tree not that long ago. And that's how quickly the timing tower can change. That's how fast the order completely reshuffles as the fuel load gets a little bit lighter and the track, of course, gets quicker and quicker. But as I said before, just look how many people are around him. And we are going to have that in race conditions. Great for us, but a real headache for our drivers. And that is third position, the 26.478 for Harry there. Nicely done. Now to David O'Harrick in the number 13 Lamborghini in 14th position. Second of our Lamborghinis, Ryan Renoir, the current lead of that particular mark. Let's see what he can do. Heading down towards the Melbourne Airport, towards Goddard's. There's one of the black and yellow Porsches ahead of him. And over the line for David. Does he improve? That is a 27.9, so he improved in time but not position. But he's now just within a tenth of Saristo ahead of him. Here comes our current pole sitter, Luke Whitehead, number 4 in the Mercedes. And now we're into the 25s. My goodness, he's taken a whole heap of time. And there we go. I was saying in the practice session that no one had more than one purple sector. Luke Whitehead holding all the purple, all the cards to his chest. And the first man in the 25s by half a second over anybody else. My word, what a marker to lay down. And not a lot of time for our drivers to be able to do anything about it as well. 6 minutes 20 to go. And again, it doesn't matter where you look, there's just cars everywhere. There won't be very many people that have any kind of significant amounts of clear track ahead of them. Behind them, perhaps. So we look at David Hack again in the very minty green Lamborghini. There's quite a big gap behind him, which isn't going to help him in the slightest. Through the Melbourne hairpin, up the hill again towards Goddard's. Currently 15th. So bang in the middle of the field. A little bit deep, I think, into Goddard. I'm one that prefers to take the title line, but does improve anyway at 28.413, puts him in the 13th position. He's got 0.4 of a second, though, to find any further improvement up the field, and then parks the car and gets out of the way. Daniel Schremer in the Bentley, in the Aston, I beg your pardon. Strange looking Bentley. British mark nonetheless. Roaring down towards the first turn. 6th position currently. Just over a second behind the storming time from Luke Whitehead. Oh, again, you saw you had to just make that very snap correction coming down the hill into the old hairpin. That's just where the bumps catch the car and just unsettles it that little bit. And again, you could just see those tiny little corrections. Well, the car is not quite behaving as much as Daniel would like. Up and over the crest for Copies, you can see from his perspective just how blind that apex is. I know I mentioned that a few times, but it's one of the hardest places on this track to get right. Nicely done. A little bit of a bounce coming through Fogarty S's. That's nothing unusual. Heavy on the brakes, down through the gearbox. Oh, he tabbed deep in there. The rear was locked up there, but because it's such a slow corner, it won't hurt him too badly, but he would have definitely lost time there, I'd have thought. What can the number one do? Well, he ended up going through the wider line through Goddard's, and unsurprisingly, no improvement. Lost a good 2 seconds from his best on that occasion. Marcus Littlewood, 5th position in the Porsche. Can he improve further? Less than, well, about 3.5 minutes on the clock now. It is the Banzai phase, as I call it. Do or die, feast or famine for our drivers now. It is very much all or nothing. That's an improvement in time, but not position for Marcus Littlewood. 126.6. Try again. 126.673. That's not how you take red gates there, although very common for people to just wander wide and bounce around on the grid. It's really hard to keep the car under control. It's so bumpy off the track, which sounds like a bit of an obvious statement, but in some runoff areas it's relatively smooth, so it doesn't chuck the car around. Oh my goodness, that was close. Now that's someone getting it wrong down at Starkey's Bridge. We've seen that catch a few people out tonight already. Wow, that was a bit of a heart-stopping moment from the off-board camera. I suspect Marcus probably saw that much quicker than we did on the external cameras. But wow, that was that would have woken him up somewhat. As Marcus is dragging along the equally liveried, I suspect that is Alex Johnson behind him, is it? Actually, no, I don't think it is. Couldn't quite see the number on the back of that, but it's the same colour that Alex was wearing earlier. Is that Nat Thomas that's behind him? Is that the number 70 Porsche? Now, it's all well and good trying to help each other in qualifying, but when the race is underway, when the lights go out, very, very different story. To Vishal Patel, still in the top 10 in the 295 Porsche. Only a tenth and some change behind Nat Thomas. One of the early pole sitters in the session. And that's an improvement. That's 26.922 for Patel. Nicely done. Daniel Guichard chasing one of the McLarens. Oh, he's flashing his lights. He's not happy with the red McLaren ahead of him. Either that or just giving him a reminder. That's the 22 car. That is Rizzo, who's currently in 23rd. Is Danny Gishard still gained. That's 27.345. Maybe he felt there was more time available to the Merc, and that's forced Rizzo to have to pull over. He will do no further in this qualifying session. Samir Fock, the one and only Ferrari in the field. Oh, he just caught that bit of grass a tiny bit too hard. That unsettled the car again. You are flattening out to a plateau there, but Sammy went to try and cut back to the grass quite early, which again is a perfectly valid line to take, but he just caught the grass that unsettled the Ferrari. Well caught, sir. Into the Melbourne hairpin as we jump to Nat Thomas about to complete his lap of Samir. And that's an improvement. That's a 26.799. Just over a tenth behind Marcus Littlewood. Nicely done in the Porsche. Here comes David O'Hack in the Lamborghini. 28.194. That is his best so far. 13th position for the Lambo. The checker flag about to fall. So anyone on a lap will be allowed to complete. Quite a few people in the pits. Checker flag is out. What will people do? Several drivers still on the field looking for that last bit of improvement. You see Gotham Reddy in the Audi. He's done for quali. 22nd position for him. That's Vaislav again, apologies for the pronunciation there. Volodya. Believe it or not, I did practice these pronunciations before the session began. And that's 15th for the Lamborghini. Back to David O'Hack then. Down towards the Fogarty S's. That's a distinctive minty green number 13 Lambo. Being chased very, very hard by Marcus Littlewood right behind him, the number 12 Porsche. So Marcus utilising that slipstream very, very nicely. Oh, and he's had enough. He's felt he's lost time or would potentially hit the back of the Lambo. He's pulled over. He will start no higher than 5th position. Will David Hack improve? 13th position for him at the moment. As his improvement in time, but not positioned by 0.02 of a second behind the next person in line. My goodness, how close was that? Like, subscribe, follow, etc. In whatever medium you are following us on, be it YouTube, be it Twitch, and of course all the social medias associated with World Pro Gaming and all of its commercial partners. We welcome you one and all, fresh face or racing ace. Hit that like, subscribe and follow, etc. So before we head trackside, let's have a word from our sponsors.
This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this World Pro Racing 90-minute race here at Donington Park. My name is Chris Buxton. I'll be your commentator throughout what is shaping up to be an incredible race. Such very close times in qualifying. I have no doubt we are going to be in for some fantastic racing at this British Classic. There it is, 1.5 hours on the top of the board, as Lucas Whitehead leads the field away. So Mercedes, McLaren, Mercedes, then the Ford Porsche. Oh no, the 295 Porsche, that's Vishesh Patel, has had trouble already. Oh dear, that is trouble. I mean, at least he has the option of being able to spin that car around without causing absolute chaos and mayhem. But hopefully he'll be able to regain his starting position at 7th place. I'm sorry, Vishesh, we saw that. And it's a shame that we caught it on the stream, but even the greats make mistakes, right? It's up to Luke as to when he's going to floor it. Here we go. We are racing here at Donington Park already. Look at Johnston in the middle of that pack, trying to split the seas between the McLaren and the Merc, trying to get up to second. Harrison's having none of that. Oh, but Luke Whitehead just touched the grass. Oh, trouble. And you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, that is one of the McLarens, I think, that's gone for a bit of a spin. Now down through the crane. It goes into the old hairpin for the first time in anger, and that is Johnston. He has got up to second. That's someone going for a bit of a bump along the grass. I think that was, I don't think it was Patel, not 100% sure who that was that fell through the field. There is Vishal Patel, so he has lost some positions from that spin during the early laps. That is Hugo Enriquez, the Portuguese number 45 Audi, having an argument. I think he's lost their 17 spots to Jesus. And now we jump back up the field. That's Stromae, who's now in 9th place. He's just he's down into 10th. That's Patel. He's just nudged the back off in the Porsche, but still roaring on that Aston. Wow, and look, you can see at the top of the shot how heavily Patel is defending from the Aston behind him. Three-way battle going on as well behind, of course. They feel very heavily condensed. Does look like Luke is beginning to pull out a tiny bit of a lead up front. Lots of jostling going on. That was someone kicking up some dust on the exit of the Melbourne Head. But look at the Aston all over Patel's tail. As we jump to Tom McEwen, he's gained a position since the start in the McLaren. That will be who's had trouble early on for Volodya. No massive incidents, it would seem. Renoir is a long way off the tail of the field, so he has had trouble. The Belgian at the tail of the field in the 732 car. But so far, so good for the top end of the field. There's Sammy Harrison on lead McLaren as some of the bollards go for a bit of a flight. Oh, Marcus Littlewood didn't get a good start. Qualified very well, but has lost a bit of the position. Now the field's starting to settle down. Merc, Porsche, German domination at the top end of the field with the McLaren there in 5th position, but no one particularly far ahead. Well, I say that, with the exception of our leader, no one's got a particular gap behind them. As we now go to Bradley Brockies in the McLaren, 17th spot. He's gained a couple of positions from the start in the 105 car, but he has got a bit of a gap ahead of him, so he's going to really struggle to fend off those behind as we look at Vishal. Oh no, that's someone that's gone for a spin. Who was that? I didn't quite see who it was, as Patel is struggling hard. He's defending hard, I should say, from the Aston behind of Stromae. Someone's had a very bad day, got the Fogarty S's all wrong, and was sideways in the track. Doesn't the flags have cleared now. That's our leader, Luke Whitehead, who's built up 1.5 second lead from Alex Johnston behind him. Which is no easy feat, because Johnson has been quick all night. And we can say, oh no, Harrison! Sam Harrison in the McLaren's in trouble. Was that who was sideways? It must be, because he's now fallen to 16th. He was 5th last time we saw him. There he is. He was indeed the 217 McLaren that got the Fogarty S's all wrong. And what a shame. He was our lead McLaren and really hustling that top pack. Still a long way to go in this race. It is not all done and dusted by any stretch. You know, if it was a sprint race, you would easily assume that you weren't going to gain that much time. Anything can happen. Also remember that mandatory pit stop is still in the race. So they could choose to save it from any time from now up until the penultimate lap. So anything can still happen. Look at Johnson under pressure from the Mercedes of Harry Spears right behind him. The 285 Merc really piling on the pressure for that second place. And there he goes. He's pulled out the slipstream. And the 248 Porsche trying to defend and forcing Harry Spears onto the marbles. And that is going to cost him a bit of momentum potentially. Vettel still fending off Stramair. And there's Fock is in there as well in the Ferrari. Oh, no, that's Stramair. I think it is that's going for the outside maneuver in the Mercedes, is it? No, there's Gunchard that's been caught by this pack. Patel has taken that sixth position from Gunchard. And that's actually on the back of the Porsche, so he has well and truly earned that sixth position. Stramair gone through into 7. Gunchard has lost 2 spots in that last lap alone. So his race not going particularly well at the moment. Like I say, plenty of time for that all to change as the race continues. But Patel is in no man's land almost, because he has got a lot of people behind him. He's got a lot of headlights staring at him, and he's 4 seconds behind Marcus Littlewood. So that's a lot of pressure he's got to handle. Whoa, someone flew off the road. I think there was David a hack in the Lamborghini that was doing some lawn mowing down there. Oh dear, it was indeed the minty flavoured Lamborghini. That's more than lawn mowing. He's gone for the sandcastles. Goodness me, he's got to be careful how he rejoins the track, as we are looking at Stephen Johnson in the 85 McLaren. Oh no, a bit of a twitch there. He's going to be very popular for a while. Oh my goodness, I think it was Rizzo that's right behind him now. I think, no, a big bumpless Renoir that is on his tail in the Lamborghini. Renoir having a terrible first lap, but has started to make his way back through the field. Oh no, that's Andrea Rizzo. Cannot catch a break. We saw him having to abandon his last quali lap. As Brockes is in trouble. We're seeing the 105. That'll be the McLaren we saw buried into the dust earlier on. And that's someone in trouble that's doing lawn mowing on both sides of the track there. There's the lone Ferrari, Samir Fock, the Austrian, then in the midst of a wonderful pack. Well, in the top 10. This is a battle for 6th. There's Patel, Stramair, Gunchard, Fock, and Norton. Oh, that's close. That's simply a difference in line. I don't think Fock got that one wrong. That's just a difference in approach to take Redgate. But I think he had to get out of that because he has lost a bit of momentum on the Mercedes of Gunchard, as he's still fending off Norton in the Aston right behind him. Has Norton got a run? It's very difficult to do an outside manoeuvre on Starkey's Bridge. You're more likely to hit the grass and go for a spin. I can assure you from personal experience. Oh, that's someone in the pit already. Someone going for a very early pit. I can't quite see who that is. Let's hit the pits. But he's gone for his stop already. That is the 16. Not sure who that is. They've fallen off the tower already. But they've gone for the early pit stops. They didn't fancy being in amongst the pack. Now there's definite... that's who it is. It's JP Slater, the Irishman. I keep reading his team name is Team Oinks. There's his Team Onyx. But he's opted for now to get himself out of traffic and get his pit stop served. As we see Oscar Saristo, the Finn, fending off. Oh, that's Sam Harrison, who we saw taking an early spin. So the two McLarens then having a great old scrap. But look at that lot. There's all these wonderful GT3 machinery in very, very close quarters. There's only a couple of very significant gaps. There you can see in the background of the Porsche still taking his pit stop. And there goes Sam Harrison on the inside of Oscar Saristo. Art Redgate. Oscar is still giving it a go, though. He's still defending his line, which you're perfectly entitled to do. Oh, that's brave, going down through the craner curves. He's regained it. Very well played. Sam Harrison has got to rethink that move, because I'd actually... owed me a little faith. I actually assumed the move was done, and I think so did Sam Harrison. He made the move on the inside of Redgate and kind of got into his... Oh no, that's someone facing the wrong way down at the old hairpin. The very brightly coloured Audi. That's the 44 car. Oh, that's Ricard. Oh no, he's got the old hairpin all wrong, and he's now got it all to do in the remainder of this race. Oh, Sammy Fock doing everything he can. And JP Slater back on track now. He's served his stop. It looks like he's going to have a stop go on the board. What's he done there? I'll wait for further instruction on that one. Oh, that's deep into the final turn. That's surely going to give the run to the Porsche. Yeah, Sammy Fox is going to struggle to get that one. Yeah, Norton is through. Was not Sammy's intended line there. A drive-through penalty being awarded to car number 71. That is Yasiunas. Again, apologies for not getting that quite right. There was an incident between himself and the 217 of Sam Harrison. We did see the McLaren off into the dust very early on, and that is why. And there it is. You can see it now. The 71 Porsche being awarded that drive-through. The stewards, the FIA-approved stewards, I will add, feeling that he was at fault for that incident. We look at Patel now, who's in 6th position, still fending off Stramair in the Aston. Now, the Aston's got the legs on him, but look at the defensive line that Vishal Patel is taking. Oh, don't go too wide into the chicane. Oh, they've ignored me. The Aston's got the drive he needs, but can he hold on to it? He's going to have the inside line, but look at that Gunchard! The 41 Merc! Oh my goodness me! And Patel is still got a nose ahead, but he's not got the inside line. And he's going to lose both positions there. Well driven from all three of them. But the battle is not yet done. The Aston's still fending off the Merc. The Aston's gone deep. And here comes Patel. He's regained those positions. What brilliant driving from the Porsche. The one that's lost now, it's Norton, I think it was. Oh my goodness. That was absolutely... Oh no, it was Harrison, I beg your pardon. That was absolutely brilliant driving from Patel. He kept his head. Because again, you lose 2 positions and it can at least dent the confidence a bit. He kept his head, waiting for Gunchard to finish his fight and retook the pair of them. Brilliant stuff from the 295 Porsche. As we're on board with Daniel Gunchard, the 41 Mercedes. Oh, Patel has had it all to do. I mean, you look at the gap from 5th and 6th, Marcus Littlewood to Vishal Patel. It's now 10 seconds near enough. That's how much time the defending has cost you. But on they go, nonetheless. Look at that pack there. As we jump to Luke Whitehead, still leading the way. 2 seconds in hand to Alex Johnson behind him. Harry Spears keeping the Porsche company and keeping him honest. Now, ideally, Johnson and Spears need to work together to try and home in on Luke Whitehead, but let's face it, that's easier said than done. All 3 Porsches in the top 5 are all wearing the same colours. That's consistency. Through Redgate, now down through Hollywood and Craney Curves again for our top first. There's Daniel Gunchard, so he has gotten back ahead of Patel. Actually, Patel, I've just realised that Patel and Gunchard are actually wearing the same liveries, just in reverse. The blue and orange colour scheme. But on they go. The Mercedes now ahead of the Porsche. With the Aston of Norton. There he is in the white and red car. Number 40, there he is, Ben Norton. Watching on, picking his time. Now, there we go, nice slide there coming out of McLean's. Turning left into right-hander doesn't normally do well. Oh, Patel's gone deep at the old hairpin. That's a really easy mistake to do. And all that is a split second too late on the brakes. That is all that causes that. And that's Samir Falk on the inside trying to come through. He's bowed out of that one. Didn't fancy going too wide into the hairpin, into the chicane rather, and I don't blame him. As Sam Harrison's come through in the McLaren. There's Daniel Stramair right behind the Ferrari as well. Going too wide into the Fogarty yes is almost certainly a disaster. You either have to go through it really, really slowly and give each other loads of room, or one of you has to bow out, and it was Samir Falk that bowed out of that one. A little bit wide coming through the final turn, through Goddard's. But on they go nonetheless. Ooh, I wondered if Stramair was going to go for an inside banzai there into Redgate. As we look a little bit further down the field, another battles everywhere going on as we see the Lamborghini of David O'Hack. Whoa! Oh my goodness, that's optimistic. As he's gone off, missed his braking point by a week. There he is, the 13 Lamborghini. That's cost Joey Stickvort as well. The position against Hurkart. That's the way racing goes sometimes. Oh, Alex Johnson's lost the spot to... Is it Harry Spears has gone through? We see one of the Mercs at the bottom of the shot. You can see the number on the side of the... No, that's Harry Spears behind him. So that's actually somebody else that's gone through in a second. We'll see that when the timing tower updates. There's Joey Stickvord again. Oh, that's... is Enriquez has gone a bit deep? No, that's one of the McLarens. I beg your pardon, it was Stickvord was the one that went deep. So that's Stickvord being chased by Hurkart. Lovely rearward shot from the back of the 28 car. The very multi-coloured Audi. As Enriquez ahead of him. Audi leads McLaren and leads Audi in this particular battle. So there's a breaking board in the middle of the track. That tends to happen. The track furniture does get quite heavily rearranged. It's going to give a run to the 44 Audi. Hurkart having a look on the inside line. Coming out of the Melbourne hairpin. Oh, he's going to look to banzai that one on the inside of Goddard's, but no, he's too far back. But that has forced Stickvort to go a little too deep. No change of position though. Look at the scrap behind them. My goodness, that's Johnson. No, well, they're happy about it. That's Johnson leading a great pack behind. Oh, and that's a big snap of oversteer by Stickvort in the McLaren. Now, unfortunately, Hurkart wasn't close enough to take advantage of it. That was a shame. It was a great opportunity for the Audi, but the Audi had his own issue up at Redgate. Stickvort wasn't able to capitalise on it. Oh, there's been Nornas Patel way too optimistic on the brakes in the Porsche to try and make that one stick. Ben Norton remains in 7th position in the Aston. That is Harrison right behind him. So Harrison's gained in this lap 8th place in his for what must feel like forever this recovery lap's going on for. But over the line again. So we're several laps in now. We're 11 laps in. And still this pack has not really dissipated any. With Whitehead maintaining about 2.6 seconds up front. There's still really intense racing going on. Now, obviously, this kind of very close, intense racing can't last all 90 minutes. Oh, as that bends a tad too deep into the old hairpin, is he going to be able to maintain the position ahead of Sam Harrison? Doesn't look like it. No, I thought the McLaren would have the inside line for McLean's, and through into 7th place for Harrison. There's Vishal Patel in the Porsche trying to regain that particular spot. Oh, you saw where the car went light as he came over the crest. He had to put a whole armful of opposite lock into that. Oh, no! Stationary cars is never a good idea. That's down at Goddard's. It's the final turn. Someone's had to get out of the way. I can't quite see who that is. But someone in big, big trouble. There's been impact down there. Is that Stickvort that's stranded? Oh, no, I don't think it is. Ooh, oh, it's Bradley Brockins again. Another incident for the 105 McLaren. We saw him stationary with someone. We don't know whether that was the cause of the incident or the result of the incident. Oh, Bradley Brockins just had a shocker. So we're only, we're not even a third of the way through the race yet. Vijay Patel once again now with his rearview mirrors full of Ferrari. Samir Fock. That's what it looks like from our perspective. The waning Porsche comes down through Hollywood, down into the grain. It goes a Ferrari having a look, trying everywhere. Well, everywhere you can't make the pass. He's having a big old look. He's certainly making himself very, very known. Trying to distract the Porsche. Absolutely firm but fair. Now on board with the Ferrari. That wonderful Italian scream that you only get from the Ferraris. A bit of a slide there, but nothing too bad. Wouldn't have really cost him anything. And there you can just see how blind Coppice is. That's why that is a common place for mistakes. that back straight. The good run there from Patel. Down towards the chicane once again. Quite a bit. Oh no, that's Patel! He's got that one all wrong! As the camera cut away, he'd got that one all crossed up. And that's going to cost him a whole bucket load of time. Thank you very much, says Samir Fogg. I will have that 9th place. As Patel has got it all to do now. That's a huge amount of time he would have lost. No such trouble for Daniel Grichard though. Fending off the... and Sam Harrison's done a great job to work his way back up to 7th. Once he gets past Daniel, assuming he does, of course. I mean, no disrespect to Daniel Grichard. There's Alex Johnson already with a Lamborghini backmarker ahead of him. Whilst all the time fending off Harry Spears. Now, I thought Alex was in 3rd a little while ago, which may well have been the case, but I don't think it was. I think that was my mistake there, so apologies. Look at the backmarkers he's got to deal with, while all the while dragging a Mercedes with him. As we, again, as they pick their way through the circuit furniture, down there at the Fogarty S's. Oh, you're not going to be able to get through there, Harry. He's going to try and cut back underneath the Porsche, is he? Nope, he remains where he is on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. Into Goddard's once again. It's not really any let-up. I mean, in these longer endurance races, we see somebody coming into the pits there. I wonder if that's Patel who we've just seen serving his stop. We did see, yes it is, says Patel, and Volodya was the other car in the result. Sam Harrison. He's managed to make his way past Danny Gishard. Number 41 Mercedes, so that's 6th position now for Samuel Harrison in the 217 McLaren. Oh, careful, Vishal. He's trying to filter out. That was Sam Falk that he was just drawing up next to. Only a few laps ago, they were fighting for position. And now, due to the pit stop, Patel is now a lap down because everybody in the top part of the field still have their pit stop to serve. Oh, that's a very nervous time to be a back marker. When you've got that many people around you, not all of these are coming through to lap that back marker, our lad. Certainly Sam Harrison, Danny Gishard, Ben Norton, and Sam Falk would have done. There's our leader. Luke Whitehead has had a fairly comfortable race so far, or certainly a comparatively comfortable race, but we've seen how easy it is to make those mistakes that cost a huge amount of time. And when you're in the midst of back markers, those mistakes can often be exasperated. It's not always your own mistake that you can be caught up in. Yep, flashing of the lights. Generally, the accepted way to use them is to let back marker know you're coming through. There's Alex Johnson, 2nd place, so there's... Will the traffic help Alex Johnson? Oh, no, Harry, that's a very unlucky time to catch someone who's catch a back marker. Oh, wow, he didn't want to lose too much time. He had to make a bold move on the inside of the crane of curves to not lose too much time on Alex Johnson. Ooh, that was a very nervous moment for the Mercedes there. Well, it was probably a nervous moment for the Porsche as well. Gotham ready. The cameraman slightly lost. There he is. That's not the camera operator doing that. That's the camera pointing the wrong way. But Gotham ready now serving his pit stop in the Audi. Haven't seen an awful lot of him, but he's been minding his own business out there. And a tire change it is. That is Stephen Johnson in the 85 McLaren, being passed by the 2nd and 3rd place Johnson and Spears. As they continue on their merry way, maintaining their great scrap for 2nd place. Back markers or no, as we saw, Harry did get a little bit held up, but he has caught back up with the Porsche, and Luke Whitehead hasn't. Well, has only really extended his lead up front. 3 seconds now for the lead Mercedes. Christopher Ligreston fending off Enriquez. Porsche versus Audi. They come through the old hairpin themselves. And you saw Christopher took that a very tight line there, but didn't wander too far to the outside line. That's a bit of that's a cautious way of doing the old hairpin. Nothing wrong with it. Not necessarily quick as way as Joey Stickvault. We saw him earlier. And that, I think, is Fonseca ahead of him? Not 100% sure. Oh, no, there's Fonseca. Beg your pardon. He's in the Porsche. That was the one that was side by side with Harrison. Oh no, Joey Stickvault is off again. Oh no, the McLaren on the infield of the old hairpin and struggling to get his car going again. And there's Andrea Rizzo in the bright red McLaren. We saw taking his stop very, very early. I'm not sure who that is directly behind. That is not position because Vishal Patel in the Porsche is the next position behind him. That's a lot of cars up front though. Stephen Johnson in the 85 McLaren. That Porsche coming through is not 100% sure. Oh, it's Nat Thomas this has gone through. There's Ryan Renmark, 13th position now. Probably one of the few people that actually has. You can actually see in the minimap there's no one anywhere near him. And that's David O'Hack in the minty flavoured 13 Lamborghini. That's essentially minding his own business. He's just surrounded by a lot of people. Unlike who we were just previously looking at, that feels like they're in a time trial. "25 minutes gone. A handful of pit stops served. Quite a number of incidents, as I thought would be the case, as we look at Sandro Ballesteros, 16th position in the McLaren, with Hurkart on his tail in the very multicoloured Audi. There's Danny Gouchard with Samir Falk. Oh no, the 45 is off. That is Enriquez. The Belgian in the Audi has had an incident up at Coppice. I did say there would be a bit of a hot spot. Samir Fox did pretty well here. Gouchard had a bit of a mixed race, started very, very well, but has lost a few positions with Samir Falk in the lone Ferrari for Code Brown. I just realised what his team name was. Car number 8 in 8th position. I'm sure you won't want to stay there for number's sake. It's doing pretty well to hang on to the back of the Merc. That's Ben Norton already behind him in the Aston. Followed very closely by, well, not too far behind. There is the next one, is Stromae. And that's into the pits then. So actually using the alternate pit lane entrance. Oh no, well, he tried to, by the look of it. Someone got that. I think he went to, that looked like Gouchard. Oh no, he was Gouchard as well. I think he made an error where the pit lane entry was. That, I think, where he went for is a very old pit lane entry. There he is coming into the pit lane. Oh dear, I would see either it looked like he aimed for that bit of tarmac, so I suspect he's made a mistake on where the pit lane entry is. That pit lane hasn't been used in quite a number of years. When Formula 1 was here, that was the pit lane entry there. Anyway, Hurkart has got a lot of activity right behind him. That is the 7th, that's Yasvinas right behind him in the Porsche. I think the McLaren that's already behind him is not for position. No, it isn't. There's the McLaren in that picture that's out of place. As Gouchard, as we saw, is in the pits, and of course he's going to be in there a while, getting his tyres changed. Maybe having his sat-nav updated whilst he's at it. Sandro Ballesteros, so in what is now 16th position because of Gouchard's pit stop. That's a car that's out of position in the shot we were just looking at. That's our race leader. Big Whitehead in the number 4 Mercedes. Now 4 seconds to the good, even with the traffic ahead of him. Backmarkers have done a pretty good job of staying out of trouble. That's slightly unfortunate for Luke. Oh, I thought the 71 was going to Yacinas. I thought he was going to pull in front of Luke there. Because the backmarkers are generally having their own fight, much like Alex and Harry are here. And Harry Spice still nailed to the back of the Porsche. But by and large, from what we've seen, the backmarkers have been pretty well behaved to the leaders. In some disciplines, it's up to the faster car to make their way past the leader, but general gentleman's agreement is if you're the back marker, you make it very obvious what you're about to do, and you just bleed out the throttle. You don't do anything brash and bold, like break on the racing line or anything silly like that, because the faster car would have planned their move well in advance of when they try and execute it. So that's why you make your intention really obvious and ideally really early, but sometimes you don't have a chance to. Like, we've seen the leaders catch people in the craner curves. You do not want to be jumping off the road at the craner curves because you'll be causing an accident. We just saw one of the McLarens there get well out of the way very, very early. He jumped off the racing line and just let out the throttle a little bit. That is absolutely perfect. That is the textbook way for a back marker to get out of the way of the leaders. Nicely done. Well executed. Oh no! Drive through for the 295 Porsche. What's happened there? Vishal Patel. We'll get an update on that in a minute. There he is. What on earth has he got a drive-through for? Well, he's coming to serve it. Well, hopefully get an update on why he's had a drive-through penalty. That's a shame because he's been doing so well for the early part of the race. But, oh, wow. Inside line coming through Coppice there. Very brave there from Harry Spires. Now, Harry is really feeling the need to put on, I would say dangerous moves, but unorthodox moves, to be able to keep up with Alex Johnson. Alex doing a great job of maintaining the momentum whilst working his way through the back markers. Oh, no, blimey, Johnson taking advantage of a great scrap ahead of him with the 44 Audi of Hurkart, and Harry Spires is stuck in the middle of it. Now, does Hurkart try and get out of the way? Because, again, the back marker doesn't want to lose any time in his own fight. He's stuck to the inside line. That's not going to help Harry Spires, unfortunately. But Harry should now be able to blast past the Audi. Another flash of the lights there. That's interesting. That's not Patel behind him, is it? Oh no, that's Sweetness that's coming past. There's Nat Thomas, fourth position. It's a shame he's not being able to close in too much on this fight ahead of him. Christopher Lindgreston, the 992 Porsche. Still having an argument with Yacinas for that spot. As the blue and orange Porsche tries, or at least thinks about an inside manoeuvre. An inside move on the inside of front curve, you've got to be brave to do it. You've got to have a lot of overspeed to do it as well. And right behind them is the McLaren of Ballesteros as well. So they can't afford to be coming together. Even though we still have 2/3 of the race to go, he still doesn't want to be tangling with people. Oh, now later, or trying to outbrake, or certainly later on the brakes, Yacinas was trying there on Ingreston. But no impact there, at least. They carry on the merry way. There's another incident being investigated. Car number 13, that's David O'Hack. Drive-through penalty for the aforementioned number 13 Lamborghini. That's the minty green Lambo of David O'Hack. A drive-through penalty for an incident on lap 11. Oh dear, and there it is, has been applied. Now again, we've seen David off the road a few times. Is he going to try and serve it now? Oh yeah, he does, but right in front of an Audi. That was a little bit close. There's Cornelius Yacinas again. Still, well, he's lost time on Hukart. Oh no, sorry, it's Lindgreston that's lost the time. Yacinas has now made the move. And Ballesteros is still right there, so there, those two Porsches have swapped round. And on they go, continuing their scrap up the hill. Being followed very, very closely by, that's Nat Thomas and Marcus Littlewood, I think. The fourth place duo. There they are, the yellow and black Porsches. Oh, wow, that was Littlewood getting that a little twitchy on the exit of Coppice. Again, very easily done. I suspect they're just maintaining station. They're just minding their own business more than trying to put pressure on one another. Daniel Stremer in the Aston. Using every available bit of road on the outside of McLean's. That's not positioned already behind him. That, I suspect, is a back marker. Oh, now Gishard, car 41, has got himself a drive-through penalty. Oh dear, oh dear. Danny Gishard is not having a good day. That's Legreston staying out of the way of the 4th place. That could have gone wrong. And again, Legreston was actually doing the right thing, staying out of the way of Nat Thomas and Marcus Littlewood, but unfortunately in doing so, he just touched the grass and very nearly T-boned one of the Porsches as it came past. And that's I think Ballesteros has gone past him. So as a result, he's lost 15th spot. But carrying on anyway. That's Jorge Alfonseca, the JPA Sim Racing Porsche. Now, position-wise, he's in a bit of no man's land there. Ginchard has served his penalty. I've not been alerted as to what caused that. 7th place now for the Ferrari. Oh dear, Marcus Littlewood in 5th position. I did say that even the greats can make mistakes, and Marcus Littlewood, who's been in the top 5 all race long, has just earned himself a drive-through penalty. Car number 12. Now, they don't have long to serve that. They only have a couple of laps in which to serve that. And he's likely to save it straight away. Yes, he does. Now, I've not been alerted to an incident, so I'm making... Oh, that was nearly speeding in the pit lane. I suspect that's track limits that's caused that. I haven't been alerted to an incident revolving around car number 12, so that is likely to be a track limits infringement. Harry Spears in the Mercedes, still chasing Alex Johnson, although he's lost 2.5 seconds, probably in the traffic. We saw him caught out a couple of times earlier on. And the 285 Mercedes now 2.4 seconds behind, or was at the last time check, to the Porsche of Alex Johnson. Last time we saw them, you saw they were absolutely nose to tail. Now, distinctly not. So Harry's got all to do, but they are clear of back markers at least for a while. So you really can unleash the monstrous amount of horsepower in that German power unit. There is Danny Gishard. He's not having a great day, but he's continuing nonetheless. He's not giving up. And fair play to him as well. 53.5 minutes remaining, so plenty of time for him to try and recover lost time. That is Jorge Alfonseca with... I don't believe that is Rizzo right behind him. It might be. As they continue their merry way, heading down towards the Pocket DSs. There is the minty flavoured Lamborghini of David Hack, so he's not in that particular fight ahead of him. Car number 41. Oh no, a stop-go penalty. He's just served a drive-through as Daniel Gishard. He's got a 10-second stop-go penalty for an unsafe track rejoin and causing an incident on lap 18. Like I say, we have live stewarding in this race. It's Danny Gishard's race is going from bad to disastrous. Yep, we've just seen him in the background of that shot, pulling into the track. Pulling into the pits, I beg your pardon. Pulling onto the track was the problem in the first place. Oh no. A great shame. What from early promise to mid-race disaster for Daniel Gishard on the rear camera of Jorge Alfonseca. Staring back at the red McLaren of Rizzo. Now there is someone out of position in the middle of that. That Lamborghini's not in this fight. No, that's the McLaren. Oh, that was a very close to an incident. That's David Hack. Now, you are allowed to unlap yourself as long as you do not impede the person you are unlapping yourself from. So it's a fairly standard racing etiquette there. And in quite clear, well, he may have put the McLaren off a little bit, but David Hack is now trying to make his way back through from early disasters. He looks like he's going to make a move to unlap himself from the Porsche. There he goes. Can he slow that down? That was very deep. No, he can't. thought that was a tad optimistic. I thought he might have been able to slow it down, but the brakes were crying enough, as Luke Whitehead is now caught the back of the black and green McLaren. Who's just bleed out of the throttle. Perfect timing to catch a back marker on the back straight and continue on his merry way. Ben Norton, not looked at him for a little while in the white and red Aston. Position-wise is comparative no man's land. 3.6 seconds behind Marcus Littlewood. Oh, that's Lindgreston. That's Sam. That's Sam Harrison, who's now back up into 5th position. That was a recovery drive for them for the 217 McLaren. Considering we saw him sideways on the grass at one point, he's having a storming charge through the field. Still got his pit stop to do, as quite a number of people still do. Even so, that is a cracking recovery. That's Harry Spires. He's not gaining on Alex Johnston. There, you just see the black and yellow Porsche there through the shot. The caught back markers again, but with the field now pretty well sorted into their respective... Oh, Marcus Littlewood having an argument with someone. That's the 32 Audi. 100% sure who that is. By the way, Marcus has got past them. That's who it is. He's got them ready. One of the early stoppers in the race, so he doesn't need to pit again unless he feels he has to. He's done his mandatory stop. I think he was the first one to do so. And Jorge Fonseca again. And his great scrap with what is technically the red McLaren behind him, but in the midst of that argument is David Hack in the 13 Lambo. A bit of an awkward position for O'Hack, really, as he's stuck in the middle of a battle he's not realistically in. Well, pace-wise he could be, as you can quite clearly see, but unfortunately, because he's a lap down from those around him... Oh, I thought he was going to banzai that on the inside of Starkey's Bridge, but opted not to. Probably quite wisely, because I don't think Fonseca was ready for it. Had he attempted the move. They're continuing on their merry way nonetheless. As the Porsche goes through Coppice onto the back straight. Well, the Porsche doesn't have to let him go. There's no obligation for Jorge there to let the Lamborghini through. It's not like the Porsche is being blue flagged. Yeah, the Lamborghini has a look. It's not enough pace to be able to go through. There it is. Confirmation it is David O'Hack. he's technically being blue flagged. Now, he has made his way past the Porsche this time. Now, yes, you saw the blue flag indicator in the car, but if he has got enough pace to pull away from the Porsche, he can do so. As I mentioned earlier, you are allowed to unlap yourself as long as you do not impede the car you unlap yourself from. A few more pit stops going on. Littlewood's in, Norton is in as well. The cameraman again trying to find where Marcus went. So at this point in the race, I think we'll have a few words from our sponsors, and we will be back very, very shortly.
This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this amazing 90-minute race for World Pro Racing. As we jump back to Samir Farkin, the lone Ferrari, still fending off Stramir. And whilst we've been away, the 732 Lamborghini of Renoir has got himself a drive-through penalty. Not been alerted to an incident. That makes me think it's a track limit violation. Like I said earlier, even the greats make mistakes. Well, McLaren in the pits, as we just saw that. That's Rizzo. There is Ryan Benoit. Been a bit of a mixed race for the Belgian. That's the rules are there, clear and simple. Also, whilst we've been away, the oh wow, inside manoeuvre going through the crane of curves to try and cut back underneath the Ferrari, the old hairpin. And that's someone trying to jump out of the way, either by design or by intent. Either by design or by accident, they managed to jump out of the way of this battle. But Sammy Falk is very well defended against the advances of the Aston. It is possible to do an inside manoeuvre through the crane of curves, but you need a lot more speed than the person you're trying to overtake, or you have undergarments of steel to try and pull that off side by side through the old hairpin. There's Hugo Enriquez in the Audi, fending off the advances of Yasinius in the 71 Porsche. Very close between the two. Oscar Soristo in now up to 4th position in the number 9 McLaren. With Nat Thomas is actually the Porsche behind the Lambo. It's the Lamborghini in that shot that's out of position. There you can see the black and yellow Porsche. That's Renoir. That's the 732 Lambo of Ryan Renoir. Oh, he was stuck in a rock and a hard place there. He hesitated as to whether he was going to make the move, then just banzaied over the dust in the middle of the chicane there. And that rather put Oscar Soristo off there. Just to remind you who the race leader is. It is Luke Whitehead, who now has nearly 10 seconds over Harry Spears, who's now ahead of Alex Johnson. And the Porsche and the Merc swapping round whilst we were having the commercial break. Welcome to those in the chat as well. We appreciate you joining in. Make yourself known. There we go. There's a message to all. Any and all are welcome along to the World Pro Racing community. Fresh faces, all racing aces. Oh, as Renoir's gone too deep into the old hairpin there. Probably not helped by the unstable, the dirty air coming off the back of the Porsche. Continuing on his way. Well, that's someone very much getting out of the way. I suspect that was one of the Audis getting that wrong up in McLean's. But using the opportunity to stay out of the way of people coming past. Oh, there they are still. Still struggling to get back on track. Very much thinking about the a very safe rejoin, costing themselves quite a lot of time. That picture in the inset is looking at the old hairpin over Swanscurve. So we look at Ryan Renoir still. Staring at, well, he's getting a great slipstream actually off the back of Nat Thomas's Porsche. Nat in 4th position. That's on board the Lamborghini. If he could stay in that slipstream, it would help him catch up with Samir Fock in the Ferrari. That's not the car already ahead of us in the shot there. Samir is quite a long way down the road. So that would actually be to Ryan's advantage if he can stay in the tyre tracks of the black and yellow Porsche. Not going to do it though. No, you were too late turning into odd hairpin there. That's who it is. It's the 13. It's David Hack in the minty flavoured Lamborghini. We seem to have seen him quite a bit in tonight's race. Ben Norton. Is that Patel that's directly behind him? I do believe. No, that's not Vishal Patel. He's ahead on the track. So similar colour. That's incorrect Porsche. My mistake. Still quite a number of pit stops to serve. So quite a bit of shuffling in this order still to do. With just over a third of the race to go. That's one of the lead Porsches coming past. There's Oscar Sarissa. Literally only a few laps ago, we saw him in 4th. Oh, wow, the tail of that McLaren is very much misbehaving. And around he goes. Oh, steady. I mean, he wasn't intending to rejoin the track. That was just where the momentum took him. But the number 9 McLaren has binned it up at Coppice. That incident took a while to play out. Oh, no, someone's lost it. That's another McLaren down to the old hairpin. As we look at Tom McEwing. 12th position in the 89 McLaren. That very much looks like Sam Harrison ahead of him. Trying to do an outside manoeuvre down. Oh, Tom suddenly slowed down there. Whether he was just making sure he would give himself plenty of space to the Porsche ahead, I'm not entirely certain, but that he just suddenly slowed down really much more than he needed to. Oh, it's Jorge Afonseca. The 315 Porsche. A little bit wide there, going through McLean's. Keeps it on the track nonetheless. Right behind him, I think, is... No, that's not Daniel Guichard. Yes, it is. My mistake. The 41 Merc is catching this battle pretty quickly. Oh, has McLaren got the run coming into Melbourne hairpin? No, not quite. Oh, wow! Guichard did not waste any time there. I wonder if McEwing's having some kind of difficulty, because that's 2 cars that's gone through. I mean, one of them is Marcus Littlewood, the number 12 Porsche. But Tom seems to be very, very slow compared to where his pace has been all race long. So, well, there you go. You can see the lap times there. His best is a 29. That was a 35.4. So he's got some kind of difficulty. Stop go 10-second stop go penalty for car number 45. A dangerous manoeuvre on track is what's caused that one. Oh dear. That was a dangerous manoeuvre on car number 85, which is Johnson. There's Dan Guichard, who again has let Marcus Littlewood through. As mentioned, he's been... That's had a very mixed races, Daniel Guichard. And he's continuing to turn the miles nonetheless. I wondered if the McLaren behind, which is Tom McEwing, was flashing his lights there, but I don't think he was. There is Tom McEwing. Now, as mentioned, he seemed to really back off quite a lot last time around. For no obvious reason other than he had Jorge Fonseca right ahead of him. Well, either way, oh wow, Guichard nearly running into the back of Marcus Littlewood there. And Merck nearly pushing the Porsche through Goddard's. But no incident there. If Dan Guichard wanted to unlap himself, he could try, but again, those Porsches have been pretty rapid all race long. So I think it would probably be in Dan Guichard's benefit to stay in the tyre tracks of the Porsche ahead of him. Oh, wow, that pleased him, but that wasn't Sam Harrison that just flew off the road. No, it wasn't. Oh, no! That's a McLaren that's going to introduce itself to the wall, and it did indeed. Didn't see who it was. I wonder if that was Brocky's that... Oh no, Brocky's just crossed the line, so no, it wasn't him. Didn't quite see which McLaren that was bouncing off the wall. It wasn't Ballesteros. He's just about to cross the line. He's letting through one of the other black and yellow Porsches. That being, I believe, the thing was Alex Johnson. And there is Bradley Brocky's. It could have been. I didn't quite see the colour scheme or the number of the wayward McLaren. On he goes all the same. That's Ryan Renbar. I wondered who that was that came past him. So despite spins and I think a penalty that went Ryan's way earlier, he's still in 9th place and still pressing on. 31 minutes to go, just over a third of the race remaining. Luke Whitehead leads pretty comfortably over Harry Spears. So he's maintained the gap. He hasn't tried to push any harder. He doesn't need to. 9.5 seconds to the good. I don't think we've seen Luke in the pits yet. Oh, we must have done indeed, because of course the pit indicator, which is the green tab next to his lap count, is green. So that's the only person in the top field, and probably the only person left on track still to serve it, is Afonseca in 12th position. That's what the 1 indicates next to the car number. And Sarista in the pits, serving his mandatory. We look at Luke Whitehead just maintaining his grip on the lead. That's McLaren very much getting out of the way. You don't need to go that far off the road. But did not want to hold up the leader whatsoever, and jumped very much out of the way. So Luke Whitehead leads by 9.5 seconds over Harry Spears. Vishal Patel. A very strong start to the race, but sadly had a penalty to serve. Put him down to 12th position by about 4.8 seconds, fending off the advances of Hukart in the Audi, the multicoloured Audi right behind him. You saw how heavily Patel had to defend, and again feeling the need to defend that inside line. So not just keeping his position by speed, he is feeling the need to really defend as the Porsche gets very squiggly coming out of Redgate. Down through Hollywood and the Crane Coast once again. The Audi's going to need to pick its moment into the old hairpin. Ooh, the Audi a little bit deeper, but keeping it on the road. Battle ahead, but that's not for position for Patel. So there's a different squabble going on ahead of them. Oh no, Joey Stigvort's not had a great run. We saw him off into the dust earlier on. That's is Ben Norton that's just gone past him. The 7th place Aston, the lead Aston in the race. But carrying on all the same is Joey Stigvort. There goes Ben Norton on the 315 Porsche. That's Jorge Afonseca, the only man yet to see the pit lane of our remaining 24 drivers. We've lost a few as the race has gone on. Samir Fox still in the top 10, still on the lone Ferrari, and still in the midst of traffic. That is Yasuinas right behind him. He's just put a lap on, and right ahead of him is Tom McEwing in the 89 McLaren. Sammy has got quite some distance to close down on the car ahead of him, unfortunately. And there we go, 7.2 seconds indeed. On board with the Ferrari. Oh, keep it on, keep it straight. He did. That's one way to get past Tom McEwing. Tom, as we know, has been struggling a bit in the last few laps, as he's now catching that battle we were just looking at. Now the Audi's gotten out of the way. That's Hukart. Now in 12th place, as Samir is now going to come past Vishal Patel. Bearing in mind that Samir Fock is in 8th and he's just lapped 11th. He's only got Renoir and Guinchard to put a full lap behind him to anybody else, as that's Hukart on the inside of Patel. Oh, Patel trying to turn in too early, taps the back of the 44 Audi and has to get out of the way of the lead Porsche coming through, but can't recover in time to keep Hukart behind him. Oh wow, jumps in front of the McLaren. Oh, as Hukart has actually jumped back in front of that's Yasuinas, so there wasn't a leader at all. Lots of flashing the lights going on. That 71 Porsche They're all for position, so that's not really correct use of the lights. These four are all having an argument for now 11th place. Hurkacz, Yacinas, Vettel and McEwing. The Audi leads a particular train, so yeah, Yacinas can flash his lights all he likes. He's trying to put the Audi off, basically. But that is not a blue flag manoeuvre. He's trying what he can to put the car ahead of him off. Well, that's what it looks like from the driver's perspective. And again, turning left into a right-hander is never ideal, but it keeps the Audi on the straight and narrow. And that four-way battle split little. There's a bit of a gap between Yacinas and Patel. Well, it's actually nearly 2 seconds between the two at the last time check, but it probably won't stay that way. As Vishal is funding off Tom McEwing. And you see the Porsche and the McLaren at the top of the shot. And there is Lucas Whitehead, race leader, right in the middle of it. I don't think Luke's going to have too much trouble dispatching of these guys, but of course if they don't see him, if the leader now goes on the inside of the 71, nicely done there by Yacinas. Again, apology if I'm not getting that name correct. As Luke Whitehead now heads down towards Redgate once again for the 45th time. As Vishal Patel, you can see the gap that's formed in between himself and the next Porsche, which is Yacinas. Down through the crane of curves and still fending off Tom McEwing. Oh, wow, and right ahead of them. Oh, Bradley Brockies in the 105 has got Gotham ready for company in the Audi. Now that is a fight for 21st. There is Gotham ready. Oh wow, very early apex there for the McLaren. A very bumpy apex for Reddy. That's not generally the way to do it. But hey, if it works for you, be my guest. 23 and a bit minutes to go. As the daylight is disappearing. The lighting effect really coming good. As the Audi still tries to size up her way past the McLaren. Back to Cornelius Yacinas, who is now up into 11th. So now the Porsche leads this train. As Hurkacz tries to do something about it, side by side, heading down towards Redgate. The Audi on the outside line. Is he going to be able to outbrake Cornelius Yacinas? Yes, he does. Nice move for the Audi. Hurkacz back up into 11th and back in the front of this train. Now bringing Patel and McEwing into this particular train. There is an incident, however, involving Vishal Patel again. Oh dear. So this would be that'll be the incident we saw at the Melbourne hairpin on car 44. That is Hurkacz. Patel was a little bit too rough on that one, the stewards found. Just waiting for what the penalty will be. Or it's being looked at least. The penalty yet to be decided for car number 295. We'll see if Vishal has to go through the pits again. There he is. 13th position, so half decent run nonetheless. As we switch to the drone cam. Right behind Tom McEwing, I do believe that is Ben Norton. So another leader is coming through. Is that the red and white? No, that's a Merc. I beg your pardon. I thought it would be the red and white Aston. It's a flashing Merc. Can't see the car number, unfortunately. Oh, it's Harry Spires. It's our second place runner. Whoops, that's Tom doing a bit of... in the 732 Lambo is fending off the advances of someone. I can't quite see who that is directly behind. Nope, I can't see who that is. That's the only problem with the night racing. It becomes very difficult to identify who is following who. It's Harry Spires again. He's catching the back of Cornelius Soswinis again. There's Vishal Patel. Now he certainly has the ability to open up a 5-second gap to the car behind. It looks like he's actually already achieved it. There's a position behind, well, bearing in mind that we just saw Vishal have that incident down at Starkey's Bridge. That's lost him all that time against Tom McEwing. I think he's already quite far ahead of Ballesteros, as we just seen Gotham Reddy staying out of the way of somebody coming through. We saw Gotham Reddy have a bit of an argument with Brady Brockies earlier on, as that seems to have resolved itself. Less than 20 minutes to go now. There's Marcus Littlebird in 6th position in his Porsche. Making his way past 115, I think it was. Oh no, 315. That's Jorge Alfonseca, the Portuguese Porsche. There he is. Well, minding his own business. That's what it looks like from the lapped runner. So that ahead of us is Marcus Littlewood. He'll just dance off into the distance. You see in the rearview mirror at the top that Alfonseca not under immediate pressure, but enough pressure to know there's somebody there. So he knows there's someone nearby. He's got to still keep it clean because he could easily lose those couple of seconds behind. Oh no! Who's had a problem down to the old hairpin? I think that is. It is indeed. Someone's overcooked that one and spun onto the infield. Couldn't quite see who it was. Now the old hairpin has gained another. Oh, not Gotham Reddy. That's a shame. But he's going again. There's Luke Whitehead again. Still working his way through the back markers. Now still continuing to extend his lead despite the rear of the field. So right on board with the race leader, so you can see how he has to deal with bad luck as well. There's not one in immediate striking distance. He will still see that he's gaining on somebody directly ahead of him, and he will plan quite some time in advance before he gets there how he's going to make the move on them. Although he's catching a really tight pack of 3, which is very unnerving for the car doing the lapping, because you just hope that they've all noticed you. If they're all involved in their own fight, it's very easy for them to just focus on that fight and forget about the fact that there's a leader coming up. The darkness has very much set in now. Donington is relatively well lit. They could probably get away with actually turning the headlights off, but it's actually a penalisable offence. Of course, they won't actually do it. As Luke works his way through the old hairpin, through Starkey's Bridge, and up through Schwarzkopf, back towards McLean's. There's Sandro Ballesteros in his McLaren, trying to close in on Vishal Patel, who's the position ahead of him. Andrea Rizzo is having I think, right, is the Audi of Enriquez right next to him. Oh, that was it was indeed. That is Henry Enriquez that's just made the move before they got to the old hairpin. So that's on board with the McLaren. There's the 45 Audi, who was a little slow going out of the Melbourne hairpin. Slower than Rizzo would have liked. I did wonder, I thought he was going a bit too deep, but what he's actually doing is letting someone go. You can see that blue flag indicator appearing on the dashboard. Oh, that was close. And they were both leaders. That's Samir Falk was one of them. I think that's actually Luke Whitehead that's just gone through. He's gone through the shot. So that's why you saw a very odd line going on from Rizzo. Samir Falk in the lone Ferrari is very low now. He's 7.2 behind Ben Norton. As we look at Alex Johnson, third position. The Porsche behind is Cornelius Juswinis in 12th. So this will be the time that fatigue will really start to take its toll, especially in the dark. Those little points you use as reference are that much more difficult to see. So this is what it looks like on board with the third place Porsche. And before the full halfway stage, he'd been in a lovely battle with Harry Spears for second place, but sadly that has undid itself twice. Oh well! A drive-through for a race leader! Luke Whitehead, car number 4, has just earned himself a drive-through penalty. Oh my! I've always said, even the greats make mistakes, and he's serving it immediately. Well, that's not incident bound, so that is track limits. I did say, I was literally just saying that at this point is when fatigue will kick in, and it's exasperated by the lack of light. It's not so much the fatigue is exasperated, it's just the fact that the mistake you potentially make is that much, it just feels that much worse. So that's Harry Spears has just taken over the lead. That was a 14-second lead that Luke Whitehead has built up over the whole race. Gone. Oh wow, and Harry was getting very, very loose. That's about 6-ish seconds, a rough guess. Well, wasn't far off, 5 seconds. Luke Whitehead now has 13.5 minutes just over, which is still enough time to close in a 5-second gap. Oh well. All bets are off. Luke has got the pace, no doubt about it, but does he have enough time to close in the gap to Harry Spears? It was looking certain that the Merc was going to win the race, but now is a question of which one. Harry just needs to kind of keep it steady and keep it going now. Still, 13 minutes to go. Still enough time to do something about it. It's about 1.5 minutes a lap. So we're still looking at a decent amount of laps remaining. Oh, Patel, you've gone in there a bit hot. Oh, I'm surprised he got that turned in, actually. He was side by side with someone. I cannot tell who that is. I have a funny feeling that's Tom McEwing. Also remember that Vishal Patel is carrying that penalty. No, that's Tom McEwing. So I am not certain who it is that Vishal was side by side with. That's the back view from the McLaren. So Vishal was some distance behind Tom, following his spin. Again, I didn't catch the car number of the McLaren that's at the tail end of this particular train. It isn't Ballesteros. That's who it is. It's Stephen Johnson, who is currently one step away from the wooden spoon, unfortunately. That's a great camera normally, but that's indicating that someone's gone off the road. Sadly, you can't... Oh no, it's Patel! I think it's Vishal Patel that's fallen off the road. Because we're looking at Stephen Johnson, that Porsche's vanished. Yep, it was. It was Vishal Patel's fallen off the road again. That's a shame. He just made all that time up on Tom McEwing and he's now binned it again. A great shame. I said earlier, the fatigue will certainly be playing about, even within these very experienced drivers. Fatigue will be playing a part in what's going on, and it's amazing how much. Again, he's gone in too hot. He's probably frustrated now as well. He's made that mistake, and that's another thing. When you start adding frustration into it, the mistake, the snowball is bigger and bigger. Mistake makes a mistake, makes a mistake, makes a mistake. There's a Gotham Reddy's in the pit. I think he's been in there a while. So sadly, the 30-team Audi is looking set to win the wooden spoon tonight. As we look at race leader Harry Spears, he has lost time on Luke Whitehead. So Luke is pushing. He's down to 4-second gap now. So at that rate, he will catch Harry Spears. But what has the 285 got in the tank to defend against the mighty Luke Whitehead? We will see. 3.4 the gap now. He'll definitely catch Harry before the checkered flag falls. There is Luke. That is Harry. I think. So there is no back marker in the way either. Harry has no rear gunner at the moment. Oh, steady. Again, that's Luke pushing very hard, using the steering with the rear. That's lost in time. He's lost 4/10 in that last sector. So Luke trying to push really, really hard to gain that gap down. He doesn't need to push that hard. He's been gaining, I would say naturally, but he probably hasn't been pushing out of his skin to close that gap down. But of course, there you go. The gap now back under 4 seconds. So Luke did make that one mistake. And he's just made another one there. That'll be fatigue, probably a bit of frustration. And that is all falling into, that's basically bringing the momentum and the advantage back to Harry Spears. It's not done yet though. 9 minutes to go. It's about 6 laps-ish. Rough guess. So it's going to certainly liven up the end of this race. Oh, I thought Luke was a bit hot. Oh my God, yeah, I don't believe it. Harry Spears has just earned himself a drive-through penalty. I don't believe it. Oh no. No one wants the lead in this race. We've had 2 leaders and they both earned themselves a drive-through. Harry will be kicking himself for that, as that has potentially ruined a wonderful scrap that we would have had for the end of the race. That's a shame. So the drone is flying furiously after Harry Spears there. But that's going to give the lead very well and truly back to Luke Whitehead. Yeah, Harry will be furious at that. Flash of the lights, yeah, he's not happy. He is not happy at all. Johnson's gone through as well, so Harry's back in 3rd. So whilst we've been talking about that, Alex Johnson, he's only 2.5 seconds off the back of Luke Whitehead. I didn't realise that the Porsche was that close to the back of Luke Whitehead. There is the top 2. So Luke Whitehead may not be able to just dance off into the distance just yet. That's a back marker. Stay out of the way. And he did. Didn't see who it was, but well done. Now, is this going to tempt Johnston to push harder than he should, or can he close in that 2.6 second gap to Luke Whitehead? We will see. But what a bit of a shame for Harry Spears, but yeah, the track limits were there to bite anyone, and bite they did. Nat Thomas 4th. He's been in that position there or thereabouts for quite a while. There's Samir Fock. One and only Ferrari. Taking a mention as well to Daniel Guichard. He's had a penalty and some issues. He's back up into 9th place in the Merc. He's 2 laps behind the Ferrari, but pressing on nonetheless. 2.2 now the gap between Johnson and Johnston. There's a Johnson and a Johnston. So it's Johnston and Whitehead, just 2.2 between them. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the like, hit the follow, hit every button you can to be alerted as to when these incredible races are going on again. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Whitehead's flashing his lights. He does not want to be catching people out of position. That's Enriquez he's catching up to, the 17th place Audi. This could be really awkward for Whitehead. There is Daniel Guichard. I was mentioning him before. Like green mouth on the front of the Merc there. Ooh, someone getting very squiggly on the exit of Redgate. That's what it looks like from Starkey's Bridge. You would never want to stand there. 5 minutes to go, just over. 2 seconds the lead. An hour and a half racing comes down to this. The final 5 minutes. And only 2 seconds separating our top two. There was one of them. That was actually the second one that came through on that camera. And there is the number 4 Merc. He's dispatched to the back marker. I don't think Johnston has yet. I think Luke did lose a little bit of time, but not enough for Alex Johnston to be close enough. Alex has dispatched on the back marker. There's some more that they've got to contend with before the checkered flag will fall. 2.2 now, so the gap has extended a little bit. Oh, that Porsche very slidey ways going through the Fogarty S's. But managed to keep his foot in it and keep himself going. Now, what are these back markers going to do for Luke Whitehead? Luke needs to catch them really on the start-finish straight, but there are 4 of them in his immediate vicinity. There's Harry Spears. Oh, what might have been for the 285 Mercedes. But still pressing on. You never give up until that checkered flag falls. You don't know what is going to happen. And you just see Gotham Buddy's car still in the pits. Has been for a while. Unlikely we'll see him back on track in the remaining time. Luke's really gone into his stride now. That gap up front, 3 seconds to the good. It's going to take a mistake or some kind of incident, realistically, to close that in for Johnston. Oh, Harry, keep it on the black stuff, my friend. As much as you can barely see what the black stuff is, and that is Luke. That's wow. That's very determined to stay out of the way. That was Johnson. Oh, nearly sideswiping the minty flavoured 13 of David Hack, I think it was. Oh no, Ballesteros is falling through the field. He's had a problem. As Luke Whitehead has managed to work his way through all the back markers, losing very little time indeed. And now has probably enough clear track ahead of him for the remaining 2 laps of this race. 2 minutes 30 to go. 2 laps to do. And there you can see just 2 cars back. Flashing his lights is Alex Johnston. And there he is. Furiously red accented intake on the Porsche. I think he's got enough time realistically to do anything against the mighty number 4. Yeah, and still that gap just steadily increases again now that Luke's got some clean air. Oh, and that's a bit of dust being thrown up. More flashing of the lights. Well, that's not a brilliant position to try and let someone through at the best of times on the way up to McLean's. Oh, there's some more dust being kicked up there. So really, what the Lambo should do there is pull over before he's gotten to Coppice, but he hasn't done. Now he's on the back straight. There he goes. Now finally getting out of the way. I think that was Renoir. Oh, not again! Not again, Daniel Guichard. Oh no, car number 41 has got a drive-through penalty. Oh no, I was talking about him earlier. I seem to be cursing absolutely everybody. Well, that's part of the fun we commentators have. That is definitely going to cost him 10th. And there's our race leader to start the final lap. Just less than a minute on the board. There it is. You hear that confirmation come from ACC. So unless he absolutely hoons it off the road, this should be what was going to be an interesting challenge for the lead. Has turned into a comparatively comfortable lead in the end, as Guichard has served his right. Actually, he didn't lose. Or he did, according to the tower, he hasn't lost. I suspect that he has done. I'm sure, but there we go. Renoir has actually gone through into that 10th spot. But wow, Luke Whitehead, you cannot say he hasn't earned this win. Built the lead up to 14, 15 seconds or so. Had a drive through. Lost the lead to Harry Spears, who then got a drive through of his own. Alex Johnson did what he could to close that gap down. Even with back marks ahead of him, he can just back off that little bit and follow the back markers home. 4 seconds the gap back to the Porsche of Alex Johnston. Actually, one of the back markers has indeed jumped out of the way. He doesn't fancy doing another. Oh no! On the final lap, Alex Johnson has just earned himself a drive-through penalty, which he can't technically serve. So I think that'll get converted into a time penalty. Oh my goodness, is that going to hand second to Harry Spears? But your winner of this 19-minute race at Donington Park is the number 4 Mercedes of Luke Whitehead. Brilliant stuff. Johnson crossed the line. Yep, he doesn't. He gets converted into a 30-second penalty, which will cost him second place. So Harry Spears is going to inherit that second spot on the podium. I think Johnson will remain on the podium. But Sam Harrison in the McLaren would seem to be forever in a recovery drive, will come home in 4th place, 15 seconds ahead of Nat Thomas. Oh, that's the number 41. That's Guichard, very much jumping out of the way. Didn't need to, but jumped off the road anyway. Sam Harrison, brilliant stuff in the McLaren. Fireworks going off in the night sky at Donington Park. My goodness me. Nat Thomas will take the 5th position spot in the 70 Porsche. Renoir, Huckart and Guichard have already crossed the line, along with McEwing, Ohack, Enriquez, Afonseca, Ballesteros, Rizzo's, Stickfort, Brockes and Johnston. Marcus Littlewood is going to take the 6th position spot in the Porsche, being chased actually by Ben Norton in the closing stages. Very close between those as we see the leaders having a good old celebration, and rightly so. What an incredible battle it has been from beginning to end. And there you go. There is your final finishing positions without any further steward's intervention. As you saw, what an incredible race. All boiled down to those last few laps. Oh, what more can you ask for? What incredible racing we've had from our drivers from top to bottom, beginning to end. We are hopefully going to have an interview with some of our drivers. It'd be great to hear what they have to say following such an amazing race. Hopefully they'll make themselves available. So we'll have a good chat with who comes forward. I really do hope we get to chat to our Podium 3 in particular, as I'd love to hear what they have to say. Thank you very much to those who have been watching us live. Always glad to have you along for the ride. Like I say, like, subscribe, follow, all the usual things. And we have got our race winner in the box with us. Can you hear us, Luke Whitehead?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Hello.
Well, well, well. What a race you have just had, sir. So, talk us through it. So you started from the front. You built up that lead fairly, I'd say slowly, but consistently. So lap on lap, it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then up pops the drive-through.
Yeah. I made that race a lot more difficult than I needed it to be, Obviously, I had a big gap, so I didn't need to push. But I think I just come from about 10 minutes before the race started. I'd just come from a 2-hour endurance race, or 8-hour endurance race with my team, H3 Racing, Laguna Seca. So I'd just done 3 hours there, hopped straight in for qualifying with no practice and no prep. And I think, to be honest, the tiredness was getting to me a little bit at the end of the race, thus causing my mistake. But yeah, it turns out that my drive-through didn't really make a difference because obviously I pushed really hard, and obviously Harry made a mistake, and then Alex also got one. So it didn't really matter in the end. But I wish I could have made my race a lot easier by just not getting one in the first place.
Yeah, I can imagine, but what an incredible feat! Having come from one endurance race straight into the next, and still being up the front the whole race long. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm over the moon. I mean, I 3 races in 24 hours. I did the sprint series yesterday, a whole day practice. Woke up this morning at about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Was practicing all day on Laguna Seca. Did 2 hours. Went from 42nd place to 10th place in my stint, with the fastest lap as well, and then came straight over here, qualified pole by 3/10, and then drove away in the race. So I honestly couldn't be happier. I'm absolutely buzzing.
Quite rightly so. I think that's going to be a very difficult feat to beat for anyone. Oh my goodness me! Well, I mean, what more can we say? That was an absolutely incredible display. We hope to see you back for further events here at World Pro Racing. Thank you very much, Luke Whitehead.
Man. Thank you very much.
Second place, by virtue of penalty, in literally the closing few corners. Let's have a chat with the Mercedes driver of Harry Spears. Harry, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Well, I'm static. I thoroughly enjoyed shouting about everyone's antics, but wow, what you must have gone through every emotion in those last 20 minutes of that race, from fighting Alex for that second spot for quite a while in the first half of the race, and then in the second half that gap then went your way. Then you were leading, and then a drive-through into third, and with a final penalty for Alex, you inherit. What was running through your mind?
Yeah, so I sort of went into this race today just to build a bit more consistency around Donington, because I was doing some hot lapping, and I did maybe like 1 in 20 laps I'd actually finish. Consistency was just rubbish around here. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting too much out today, and I was going into the race really expected to get a drive-through because this track is lethal for track limits. So I can't say I'm too annoyed about the drive-through, but obviously it's always a little bit gutting when you lose the win. But yeah, as you said, it's a real rollercoaster of emotions. So like seeing Luke come up behind me in the pits. So I knew the pit lane was short, and I knew that Luke had quite a big lead over me at the time when he got his drive-through. I wasn't quite sure if I got it, but sort of overtaken him. But obviously, it ended up going that way. And then when I got my drive-through, I did, I wasn't particularly pleased. I did hit my wheel a little bit.
I can imagine. So, when you were leading before you had that drive-through pop up, were you conscious of the gap between you and Luke, or were you just trying to keep it on the black stuff?
Yeah, I should have been doing the latter really, but I was constantly looking at the relative, just like constantly trying to get that gap above 4 seconds. But
so you were minding that gap, then you were sort of trying to keep the gap between you and Luke where it was.
Yeah, pretty much after every corner, because I was really struggling in the night part there. It was really hard to see around there. But yeah, it's constantly just checking that time and trying to make sure I maintain that gap.
Oh, brilliant stuff, here. You did a great performance, and that battle you were having with Alex in the first half of the race looked fantastic. Again, was it a case of were you just sort of trying to match the pace in the first half of the race, or was it really all guns blazing trying to get past him?
Yeah, I don't mean he did a really good job today, Alex. I think I felt like I was being held up a little bit, but obviously part of the race is getting past him. Well, that's most of the race, really. So, yeah, he did a really great job. But, yeah, I was obviously pushing quite hard to stay behind him, but I feel like my pace, if I had gotten past, that was sort of my goal, just to get past him and bridge the gap to Luke, because I knew I could lap in the 26s. But I just couldn't manage to do it behind Alex. But as I say, he did a really good job to keep me behind. And, yeah, bit of a nightmare for him to get that 30-second penalty at the end.
Yeah, absolutely so, but a great race nonetheless from our podium 3. So excellent. Thank you very much for your time there, and great podium. Thank you very much, Harry Spears.
Thanks.
And finally, we have the eventual third place finisher, the Porsche driver of Alex Johnson. Alex, are you with us?
I am here, yes.
Hello to you, Alex. Well, again, it's the same kind of bulk questions to you. That's been very much a roller coaster for you as well. Really fending off Harry Spears, particularly in the first half. Then, right towards the end, just being denied that second spot. Talk us through it. What's running through your mind right now?
Yeah, like we came into this race, we've only been testing for today. Like yesterday, we had the Pro Series hosted by WPR, and I hadn't really done hardly any testing around Donington prior. So it was more get up in the morning and just get a good car, get it set up. Originally, we were going to use the Aston, but about 20 minutes, half an hour prior to the official quali, my team changed to Porsche. So at the start of the race, I know how to get another good start, cut through and drive off, and we did. Coming up to the first pit stop, so I went in, I just missed the pit box and the car stalled. So I had to restart the car and get back in the pit box, which must have cost me a minimum of 10 seconds easy. And from there on, it was just driving, trying to catch up. And then on the last lap, we got that drive-through just at the chicane, which leads onto a GP circuit. It's a real shame because I didn't even cut the track, it's just on the exit I ran wide and nearly lost the car. But how the game works with a track limit system, it's just a brutal advantage. So it's a shame, but no, well done to Luke and Harry. They did a great job. So do you feel that you would have been quicker or better in the Aston, or was the last minute switch to Porsche the right decision? I think the last minute switch to Porsche was the right decision. Like we've been testing Aston all day, but when we tried the Porsche on this setup, we just were more consistent. I was used to the Porsche. I've had a bit of experience with it in my 2 months of ACC. So I thought it'll be better for the endurance. It was just a better race car. It had more bottom end, which would help as the tyres would start to wear down, going out the tight hairpins, and that's why we chose the Porsche in the end.
Fair play, a great race. What could have been is certainly the motto there, but it was a great race nonetheless. Well done. Thank you very much, Alex Johnson.
Thank you.
And that is going to wrap up tonight's festivities. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the streams. A great pleasure to have you on board. Thank you very much to the sponsors. Without you guys there, we literally couldn't do what we do. So AMD, HyperX, GT Omega, Thrustmaster, Melita, Gaming Malta, and of course to our broadcasting partners, Esports Television, Motorsport TV, and TVM Sport. Thank you very much to those behind the scenes. Again, literally, we couldn't do what we do without you. And our drivers put on an incredible show, top to bottom. We thank you all very much. If you wanted to get involved, hit the like, subscribe button, and follow buttons as well. Catch up with World Pro Racing on the social medias, and of course their website. Anyone can get involved. Fresh Faces and Racing Aces, as previously mentioned. But for now, thank you very much. My name's been Chris Buxton. It's been a great pleasure to be your commentator, and we will see you very soon. Thank you very much, and good night.
stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.